weekend racing. It's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael and Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of the shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last stunts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense. So ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
This is The Magic Mike Show, episode 362. Mr. Somich.
Huzzah! Your mic's not working again.
Oh, it's not working. Sorry.
There you go. Now it's better.
A little touchy back there. Mike, you know what? It's still a little overblown because of all the screaming I did Saturday. Epicenter wins the Louisiana Derby. Stalking. I have been saying for months that he could do it. Mark did it. I'm officially announcing my retirement. I cannot do any better than that.
I would agree with you. You probably can't do any better than that. You're the only person I heard that said he could stalk. So there you go. Kudos. Take your victory lap one time around the racetrack. Maybe off the pace with a big move late, and that was impressive, man. That was by far the most impressive Derby prep we've seen. We're going to talk a lot of Derby on the show today. We're going to spoof the Oscars a little bit, but no one will get slapped here. And we're going to have some fun talking about the weekend's races.
Man, I'm very excited about the show we're gonna have because we're gonna be talking about our Derby top 5, our Oaks top 5. But I also do. I'm just very excited to talk about Epicenter. We're just gonna gush about them, all sorts. I'm also excited, by the way, of the return of the Openham slap between men. Juwan Howard, he set the stage. Yeah. And then Will Smith literally took the stage and ran with it. So it's going to be a fun show, though. You want to just jump right into it? We got some news to talk about with the Kentucky Derby. You want to do that first?
Yeah. Who knew year 2022 was the year of the slap? It's a new one. You'd think that would have been a How I Met Your Mother thing, not a random thing on the Oscars.
That's very true. Barney Stinson. Yeah. Where were you, man? If Barney Stinson was still around, that show's been off the air for a long time. Maybe that's why. Maybe we'll see. Anyways, let's get into the news. All right, Mike. Epicenter wins the Louisiana Derby Grade 2 race worth $1 million in prize money and also worth 100 points in Kentucky Derby. So Epicenter, along with being the Kentucky Derby points leader, is the de facto leader for pretty much anybody who's paying attention right now for winning the Kentucky Derby, right, Mike? You have to at least have him at number 1.
Let's not go that far. You don't have to. If he's not in your top 3, you're smoking something pretty good. We'll put it that way. I think you could make a pretty good case that, there's a lot of people who love Messier. So you can make a case for Messier being above him. Forbidden Kingdom probably gets some love there. You got both White Barrio and Simplification down in Florida, as well as Classic Causeway. It's still crowded up top, but it's getting harder and harder not to say Epicenter is the leader in the clubhouse or one of the definite favorites come the first Saturday in May.
It just was so amazing. And the reason I want to go back to what I talked about at the top of the show about how I was predicting he was going to be able to stalk and win is because when I've watched this horse, Mike, he just seems push button. Every time Joel Rosario in a race has asked him to do something, he's responded well, whether it was, hey, move up and take the lead. Hey, it's time to go. It's time to put some distance. Hey, it's time to get rid of Papa Cap. Even if you remember when he lost the Lecombe Stakes, and that's the race that made me say this horse has the ability to stalk, is because the second that he saw Call Me Midnight, it was too late, but he engaged and he took off. And Rosario engaged him and he took off and he had the horse beat going into the first turn again. So I absolutely loved it, what he was able to do. Let's talk about the rest of this race, though, and I'm going to switch it over to the replay here. But tell me, what do you think about the rest of the field and any horses out of the Louisiana Derby that you consider for the Kentucky Derby? Zozos is in, Pioneer, Medina in, and Rattle and Roll probably in too.
Yeah, obviously Zozos is the other horse that you're thinking about here. I would say that there wasn't really anyone else that was a real contender out of this race. I mean, Pioneer Medina was pretty far back at the top 2, and Epicenter really just kind of rolled away from Zozos as well. one thing I'd say is that Zozo's definitely had his own way here up front. As you're watching this race, they're not going very fast, and the top three ends up the try to go through underneath the wire the first time. Obviously, of Epicenter, who passed the front two, but no real movement in those front three spots. I had a couple people that I saw saying this race wasn't as impressive as it is visually, simply because there was very little change up front, very much a conveyor belt. The track was extremely fast, set a track record this day. And then so you have some of the naysayers saying, well, this is going to kind of an inflated effort because of where those horses ran and how they finished. To me, that's a little bit of a knock. I mean, you got people saying that the 9-horse here, Rattle and Roll, ran one of the better races because he came from off the pace to sneak up here for fourth. But, I think this was just a situation where the best three horses were the three horses that were in front the entire time.
Yeah, the field wasn't great, right? We kind of talked about that, how this was the least impressive of all 4 Louisiana-based stakes or prep races that they've had. Going back to the Gun Runner that Epicenter won in December, this wasn't the top to bottom a great field. So I think it was also one reason it was nice to see Epicenter do what he did. Watching the break and the first time they went under the wire again, Rosario seemed like he had a pretty strong hold on him, like he wanted to make sure that the horse was going to sit back a little bit. But look, this is what I mean. As soon as he asked him to tip out 3 wide, as soon as he asked him to go, just always responding. And now he drifts in a bit here. That's kind of normal for a horse. They just kind of go towards the rail. They go towards what's the inside there. I'm not too worried about it. In the live, I was like, whoa, watch out. But it was, in the moment, that's how I felt here. No issue for me. Anything for you there that you saw?
No, not at all. I think the most important thing coming out of this is what you said. He took hold of him the first time under the wire. Why that's so important is Epicenter was never making the lead in the Derby. 0% chance Epicenter was going to be the fastest horse out of the blocks. So it was very important for Epicenter to learn to be able to rate and to be able to do this because he was not going wire to wire to win the Kentucky Derby. So the fact that he's actually able to sit off a horse and then peel out 3 wide and go when asked, and he really did accelerate when Rosario started to ask him down the lane, was impressive. I think that was the biggest takeaway. And again, I mean, Chris brings us up. This is another example of Timeform and Beyer disagreeing about what the numbers are. The Beyer figure for this race came back significantly higher than the Timeform number. So it's interesting that this is the 3rd or 4th prep now that we've had with varying degrees of numbers coming back on these horses.
I don't ever know what to do about that timing wise. It's frustrating. We talked about that a lot on this show. It's crazy. Anyways, the point is Epicenter is pretty damn strong, pretty damn amazing. The Sunland Park Derby, we don't really need to talk about that. I don't think either of us thought highly of that, right? That you saw Slow Down Andy barely win despite all odds. You know what it actually reminded me of was the Los Al Futurity, but in like reverse, where Slow Down Andy won despite Messier running like a dick in the stretch. Slow Down Andy won this race despite himself running like a dick, and then Bye Bye Bobby also being a dick. And I think Straight Up G being in there. I don't know. It was not a solid. That was a good Sunland field. That was not a Kentucky Derby field, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what you'd expect from one of these like low level points races where you send your horses that can't get it done at Golden Gate to Sunland, right? Like that's essentially what you're looking for. And it was a mess of a stretch. Like both horses didn't seem to want to win. I feel bad for anyone at Bye Bye Bobby bet because he looked like he was going to win by 4 at the top of the lane, and then you saw just an absolute re-break there from Slow Down Andy.
Let me get this resized a little bit. All right, so let's head over here. We're going to go take a look at the Kentucky Derby. And Mike and I are going to try and give our top 5 here as it stands, a little updated here. Epicenter at the top here on the Kentucky Derby leaderboard is he's been my number 1 for months. So, of course, he's still my number 1 in this spot. Mike, is he now number 1 for you? You have been a White Abarrio fan for a long time.
He took over the number 1 spot for me this weekend because he showed the ability to rate, and I trust the connections of Epicenter more than I trust the connections of White Abarrio.
So let's go through here. Go ahead and give me your top 5. Epicenter is number 1. Let's go back down to 5. Where are you going for 5th?
5th, I'm going to go with Classic Causeway. Done absolutely nothing wrong. I think it's an interesting move to send this horse to the Florida Derby instead of keeping him at Tampa. Instead of just kind of training him up to the actual Kentucky Derby, but that's going to make the Florida Derby one hell of a race. We now have Charge It. We've got Classic Causeway. We've got White Abarrio. We've got Simplification that are all banging heads. So you're going to have multiple horses in my top 5 that are going to go at it in the Florida Derby. And that's going to become the San Antonio Derby and the Florida Derby now just stacked and just exceptional preps. I mean, so I'm excited to see both of those races and kind of see where they run. The other 4 horses in my top 5 are coming out of those 2 races.
For me, number 5, I am going to go with Zandon down here for Chad Brown. The more I think about this horse, I know he's growing on me. He's going to go to the Bluegrass Stakes for his second start. And listen, I'm putting him number 5, Mike. I'm saying he's going to be 5th in the Kentucky Derby. Don't freak out on me here. Zandon, I think, has got the ability to sit closer than he has done in some races. Hasn't always had clean trips. And that's not something that you want to say about a horse going to the Kentucky Derby. But I think if this horse gets a favorable draw, gets somewhere in the middle of the pack, Kentucky Derby is going to be his 3rd start. He's going to the Bluegrass Stakes. I think he's going to be not only going to have a strong chance to win that race, but I think he's going to get a strong chance to win the Bluegrass and come out of it and be very strong for the Derby. I think he's a very logical hit the board type. I don't think he's got any chance of winning, but I do think that compared to the rest of this field, with the upside that he's shown, remember how lightly raced he was and how quickly Chad Brown pushed him into the deep end when he doesn't normally do that with his horses. I do like Zandon here to be number 5 in my Kentucky Derby top 5.
All right, that's a choice. I mean, that's something, man. I am anti-Zandon, and I'm excited to talk about the award that he is up for in the future because I am now very happy I put him on that list. Coming in number 4 for me here, I'm gonna go. That's the wrong list. I'm going to go with Simplification at number 4. Looked really good last time in Florida. Looked actually very good in both of the 2 Florida preps that we've seen. Excited to see what he does in the Florida Derby. He had some issues with switching leads. That's obviously been a problem. We're going to get to see him and Wade Barrio go at it again. It'll be interesting to see the trips that they each get. Simplification has had 2 tough trips in both of those Florida preps. And has done very well in both of them, running second and winning the last one, obviously. So interested to see what Simplification does in the Florida Derby. Right now, he's sitting number 4 on my Kentucky Derby list.
I have Classic Causeway 4th, so I will talk about Simplification. He's not on my list, and you touched on a huge one. Is the horse still struggles to change leads in the stretch, and the distances as they get longer, he now will no longer be going that short stretch, right, at Gulfstream. He's now going to do 1.8 miles, so he has to do the full stretch at Gulfstream. And as the distances get longer with horses that don't change leads, they're not getting that burst of energy. That's why changing leads is so important. Is it's almost like they're finding like taking a deep breath real quick and changing gears. It's like that last little like nitrous burst a little bit in the stretch. If he's not doing that at 1.8 miles, at 1.25 miles is going to be even harder for him. So that's my concern. If Antonio Sano, if he can figure out how to fix that with this horse, whatever it takes to do it, I think this horse has got a legitimate shot to win the Kentucky Derby. But until he does that, he's completely off my list. So that's where I landed with him.
And that's the thing is you have that additional upside built in here if he does learn to do that. You also have the diversity that I love about Simplification, where he can win on the lead, he can win close to the pace, or he can come from off it. And we've seen him be successful doing all 3. To me, that's a huge plus when you're talking about a field of 20 horses where a lot can go wrong in the race.
And a horse that has, along with struggling to change the leads, has had issues before breaking. It comes and goes with him. But with the Derby, with 19 horses in the gate around him, it's very crucial that you break clean. So I get a little bit of a diciness, but that's probably why you have him 4th and not 2nd overall. Where do you want to go number 3 here for your Derby top 5?
First time making a list for me because now he is in the Tim Yakteen barn. I'm throwing Messier at number 3. I'm interested to see what Messier can do stretching out here. We're going to see him at the Santa Anita Derby next. He and Forbidden Kingdom are going to knock heads early. It's going to be interesting to see how they end up pressing each other, who makes the lead, and how he's able to handle the distance. So I've got Messier sitting at 3 simply because he's less proven than my top 2.
Just seeing Ashley in the chat. Good to see you. Ashley was a big part of the Louisiana Derby show on Saturday, too. Classic Causeway off the board in Kentucky. That's a big prediction. Listen, the Classic Causeway is a speed horse. And that speed horse is, if he doesn't hold on for 1.25 miles, if he gets hounded early, you could very easily see him kind of be boom or bust in this spot. Which is kind of ironic because number 3 for me is going to be a boom or bust horse coming up against Messier, and that's Forbidden Kingdom. I have him ranked number 3 here because this horse is just pure speed. He is a son of American Pharoah who won the Triple Crown in 2015. The problem is, Mike, carrying your speed as a sprinter, going 1.16 miles when nobody's pressing you, it's not that hard, especially it's a track like Santa Anita that favors speed on the dirt. You're going 1.8 miles against a horse like Messier in the Santa Anita Derby. That's boom or bust time for you. And if this horse is just so fast that nobody can even catch him in the Santa Anita Derby, that tells me he could probably do it in the Kentucky Derby as well, where he'll have to try and do it against Classic Causeway. But until he proves me that he can't do it, Forbidden Kingdom, I've got him number 3, Mike.
Yeah, that's look, both the preps in Florida and California, it's time to show out now. And we're going to find out who is real and who isn't. We obviously saw Epicenter is the goods. And now we're about to find out who's the goods in California. Because, look, Messier and Forbidden Kingdom, they're both going. And if they make the Derby, they're both going. We're going to find out who's better. It's just that simple. And so I'm excited to do that over at Santa Anita and see which one's able to get the job done. But for me, I would take Messier over Forbidden Kingdom. I'm awfully interested to see if Messier makes your list. Because if so, I have issues with Forbidden Kingdom being on your list. Because I don't think both of them can be in the top 5 because one is going to cook the other. And we're going to find out who the chef is and who the meal is in the Santa Anita Derby.
Where are you going number 2, buddy?
Number 2, I'm going to my boy, Barrio, who I had as number 1 up until this weekend. There's a lot of speed in the Derby. I've talked about it for a while. This horse has proven he can sit right off it. I'm a little worried about the connections. Obviously, not as much Derby pedigree as Asmussen, and that's one of the main reasons that I've got Epicenter sitting in my top spot. But White Barrio and what he was able to do in the Fountain of Youth, I believe it was, when he was able to stalk and pounce. He got a great trip, but man, he made the most of it, and he absolutely dusted Simplification, who came back to dust everybody else in the next 4 to prep. So I am going to have White Barrio at number 2. Love the diversity again. I love the fact that he is able to sit and pounce. He's able to show speed if he needs it. He can make his own trip. Yeah, he tripped out. But you know why he tripped out? Because of talent. The same reason Epicenter tripped out. He was able to sit behind the speed and just turn loose. But he had enough speed to sit close so no one else could really press him. So until further notice, a.k.a. the Florida Derby, I'm going to have White Barrio sitting at number 2.
Listen, you've been high on him, and he's a horse that just missed the list for me. And this is his proving time, right? He wins the Holy Bull Stakes, and immediately after the Holy Bull, they said, we're just going to skip the Fountain of Youth and go straight to the Florida Derby because Saffie Joseph Jr. wants the Kentucky Derby to be the horse's 3rd start. And he had a horse in New York traffic that, yes, it was the COVID year in 2020, a little bit disrupted, but was able to campaign New York traffic quite nicely as a 3-year-old. So the trainer definitely knows how to handle things. For number 2, I have a horse here, Mike, that is not an absolute speed horse as you think he's going to be. Number 2 is Messier, a horse that has proven that he can sit off the pace and win, which is what he did in the Bob Hope Stakes. It's what he did to break his maiden. It's what he's going to be able to do against Forbidden Kingdom if that horse can't handle 1 1/8. But the reason they're both in my top 5, despite the fact they're facing each other, is I think they have 2 very different styles, Mike. I think that Messier is like Epicenter, where, yes, he can set the pace, but I think he's ultimately best sitting off of it. Forbidden Kingdom, it's one thing. It's boom or bust. It's go, go, go until we can't go no more. And because of that, I don't see an issue having them both on here. I think that even if they finish 1-2 in the Santa Anita Derby, which is what I'm banking on, and that's not, breaking any news here. I think they're going to be the 2 shortest prices by quite a bit in that race. But my point is, I think that they'll both be 1-2. They'll both put up very credible efforts. And a lot of the post draw is going to be, or a lot of the Derby post draw is going to matter so much for these horses. I really think that whatever happens, whoever wins and doesn't win in the Santa Anita Derby will still go to Kentucky with full head of steam.
Well, I mean, I agree. I think they're going to run 1-2 in Santa Anita. I just think it's going to be awfully interesting to see how it goes down. I think Messier is going to go. We'll see what happens, but I think Messier is probably going to go with Forbidden Kingdom. I think, Baffert's seen enough horses of his. Oh, I'm sorry. Tim Yakteen has seen enough Baffert horses not be able to run down Forbidden Kingdom in the stretch at this point that I think you're probably going to see a little more pressure from Messier than you may have if, some of those results have been flipped earlier in the season. Yeah, look, they're both going to be in the Derby. I think they're both going to run 1-2 in Santa Anita. I think we're just going to find out which one's better. And I think it's going to be pretty obvious, especially when you consider that they're going to stretch out another 1/8 of a mile in Kentucky and go 1.25 miles after going 1.1 miles at Santa Anita. So I think that race is going to be very telling. And I would be very surprised if both of these horses hit the board in the Derby.
That's our Kentucky Derby top 5. HoweverRaceNews.com. We've got you covered with free picks for every race, every track around the country. Full coverage of the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks at youtube.com/racing. Do it. Hit like if you like the video, subscribe if you really like it. Tell us below who is in your top 5. We'll see you at the track.
And we both have Epicenter at 1, by the way, since Magic
Absolutely.
didn't.
We said that at the beginning. That should have been Epicenter's literally in the photo that's right here. If you couldn't figure it out, we love Epicenter. All right. If you're watching live, sorry. If you haven't figured it out, yeah, that's what we do now. All right, Mike, we will, and the podcast listeners are probably, what the fuck is this going on? Because I'm not editing this out. So they're going to be like, why are we ending? Why is he saying that stuff? Mike, let's talk about the Kentucky Oaks horses here for a second. Or do you want to let's do that first, and then we'll come back to our awards here. Give me just a second to pull up the Kentucky Oaks horses. Where are you?
This is a lot more difficult. When you go into, like, obviously there's not as much out on the Kentucky Oaks, but there's also, it's just, I've got a real banger at 5. I think it's going to be pretty surprising.
Oaks horses, there you are. All right. Boom, boom, boom. All right, Mike. Kentucky Oaks is the first 100-point prep race for the Kentucky Oaks is in the books. Echo Zulu returns. The undefeated Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies champion is still undefeated, but just by the hairs on her chinny chin chin, holds off Hidden Connection to win the Fairground Oaks. She is atop the Kentucky Oaks leaderboard here with 130 points. But I got a feeling neither of us, based off of that effort, are going to keep her at number 1 on our list. Let's start at number 5 for you. Where are you going?
I am going to go with a horse that has never touched the dirt because I agree with Chris. This is absolutely wide open. Now, I am going to put a caveat on this. My number 1 horse has an asterisk next to it because I am assuming Secret Oath goes to the Kentucky Derby. Secret Oath would be my number 1 horse, and this list would be shaken up a little more, but I have her going to the Derby, and so therefore she didn't make my list. Number 5, I'm going with Bubble Rock, who we're going to see in the Grade 3 Fantasy at Oaklawn next time out. She won. She's never touched the dirt. This is a Brad Cox horse that debuted going 5 furlongs on the turf, was able to break her maiden at Saratoga on the turf, went to the Breeders' Cup, has run twice on the synthetic at Turfway Park, was able to get the job done in the stakes last time out at a mile, and will be stretching out and taking on the dirt for the first time in the Fantasy at Oaklawn. I think she's got real upside, and I realize that she needs to run well to even make the gate, but that Fantasy's not that tough of a field. And if she's able to roll and you get a Brad Cox horse like this where they believe there's enough talent to try the dirt, I think it's worth keeping an eye on her.
That is I did not expect Bubble Rock to be on the list, but is a really great pick for you. And she's shown that she can handle turf and synthetic. So watch out for her. Number 5 for me is a horse that has earned points, but is actually not earned any of them in America. I'm going to go with the horse that is ranked right there, tied for number 6 with Kathleen. Oh, I'm talking about Shahama, currently now with
You love this horse.
I love this horse because she's such an enigma at this point. And Mike, again, this is number 5. I'm not saying putting her first overall here, but a horse that has made 4 starts all in Maidan, winning them by an average of over 2.5 lengths. This is a daughter of Munning, so she has American breeding out of a Belong to Me mare. So you're getting distance underneath, you're getting speed with the Munning side there. But why I love this horse is as soon as she wins the Group 3 UAE Dubai Oaks, going a mile and a 16th. At Maidan, they immediately said, we're not going to the UAE Derby, which it looked like she could have been a short price for that race. We're sending her straight to America to trainer Todd Pletcher, who just won this race the Kentucky Oaks last year with Malathot. And by the way, we're not going to put her into a prep race. We're going to train her straight up to that. If there's one guy that can get a horse off of just a little bit of an effort into the Kentucky Oaks and win it, it's Todd Pletcher. So Shahama, complete enigma here, but I really love the upside that she has, and I love the faith that the ownership does sending her to Todd Pletcher here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what her price is in the Oaks as well. She might be one of those horses you get a little bit of value on because of the overseas running lines.
Yeah, she is. She's definitely an interesting one. And I will say, if you're going to be handicapping that race and she comes in, you're just going to go, I don't know what to do about this, because the horse that she beat by 2 lengths in that last race at Maidan did not do so well against the boys in UAE Derby. Mike, where are you going number 4 here?
I'm going to go with another Todd Pletcher trained horse. Let's talk a little bit, and this kind of gives away the top side of my list, a little bit about Classy Edition. Ran 2nd in the Devona Dale last time out, currently sitting 14th in the standings. Had a little bit of trouble in that race, too. I went back and watched the replay. Kathleen O gets a nice split and is able to absolutely run away from that field. Classy Edition wasn't able to press the go button. Irad wasn't able to press the go button on her when he wanted to. Ends up having to duck in, kind of got stopped a little bit, ducks in the inside, ends up running a strong 2nd in the Devona Dale. This horse was undefeated going into that race, done absolutely nothing wrong. I'm a huge fan of Kathleen O. I'm going to put Classy Edition here in 4th.
That is
third. Sorry.
No,
Fourth.
we're in 4th. We're talking 4th. That's an excellent pick. That's where I'm going with number 4 as well. Yeah, I love this horse. Another Todd Pletcher training. I've actually got 3 Todd Pletcher horses on here. You nailed all the great points on her, so I'm not going to waste any time. Where are you going number 3?
There's Echo Zulu on my list. Look, I think Echo Zulu is a darn good horse. The more I watch back that race from Saturday, the more concerned I am about her long term, though, because that was not a great start. And yes, it was off a bench. Yes, she was able to get the W. I've got some concerns. She was loose, shouldn't have been that close. I had concerns going into the Breeders' Cup, and I feel like I was right in the Breeders' Cup now. And the break for both Juju's Map and Hidden Connection is what was able to give Echo Zulu such a romp. So I'm going to go with Echo Zulu here at 3.
I left her off my list. I'm against Echo Zulu after that. It was very unimpressive to me. I
was wondering how you fit 3 Pletchers on here.
Yeah, it's an extremely slow effort. As Chris says, and I'm telling you as someone who had Hidden Connection bet to win that, I really thought the Hidden Connection was going to get by. Now, you do have the counter argument to that effort from Echo Zulu just barely winning, is that Echo Zulu barely won off of a 5-month break. Hidden Connection had to start under her belt and couldn't get the job done. So there is still some upside to Echo Zulu, but when it comes to going to the Kentucky Oaks off of what I just saw, I've seen at least 4 horses in America who I think have a better chance of beating her here, and that is going to go with the horse that you see there at number 11, another Todd Pletcher trainee. Her name is Nest. This is a horse that is a daughter of Curlin out of an AP Indy mare, and that exact breeding is what brought you your winner last year, Malathat, for trainer Todd Pletcher. This horse I don't think is as talented as a grinder as Malathat was. Nest has a little bit more of a press button. It's yet to be seen. Does she have the same heart that Malathat had? But I fully believe in Nest. I believe in her talent. I believe in the connections, and I believe in the pedigree. Might be a little high here, but I think that when the Kentucky Oaks comes, this is a horse that's just going to be perfectly suited for that race.
Yeah, there's a couple horses that aren't going to make the list here. My Derby list probably doesn't change a ton. My Oaks list could completely flip. Like this top 5 is much more difficult for my mind because we have a lot more to learn here still. A lot of these horses have not tried anywhere close to the distance. So I like this one's tough. Nest was one of the ones I considered. Ain't Easy was one of the ones I considered. Neither made my list. So this was, I thought, a little more difficult than putting together the Derby list. Number 2, I'm going to go to the horse that lost to Echo Zulu last time out. I'm going to take Hidden Connection at number 2. And here's why. I think you can make excuses for both of the last 2 races. I think Hidden Connection gets better with distance. And I kind of believe in this horse again after that terrible Breeders' Cup effort. Watching her try and run down Echo Zulu, who I respect Echo Zulu. If I have Echo Zulu sitting at 3, and I think Hidden Connection is going to get better with distance and is more versatile than Echo Zulu, I'm going to step up and put Hidden Connection here at number 2. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure. I'm still a little back and forth here, and I think there are other places to go. But I was impressed with what Hidden Connection did. And you look back, and the Lecrae race was one of those spots where just Hidden Connection's race got completely blown at the break, breaking from the 11 post, having to rush up, trying to get close to the lead, being 3 wide in the first turn. Then the crate breaks down, pushes her out, and there's just so much that happened in the prior race. You're saying that Hidden Connection had experience. I'm not sure how much Hidden Connection got out of that first start because of everything that happened. So I kind of want to draw a line through that and then say this was more of the first effort. I like the fact that we were closing. I think you're going to have a pretty decent pace set up in the Oaks, which plays to Hidden Connection, but has that tactical speed to stay close. So I'm going to give her a shot at number 2.
A horse that I really thought before all the scratches made it basically one-horse race in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies before they even broke. I was very in love with Hidden Connection going into that race. And Chris Maiello was, and he's slowly falling back in love with her again. Listen, I've been broken one too many times by Hidden Connection. At this point, that was it for me. Fairgrounds Oaks, that was it for me with that horse.
This is one of those horses, though, that I have never heard connections this high. They absolutely believe in this horse, and it's a smaller group. I think it's Calhoun who trains this horse. They believe this horse is the goods, and they are going to continue running her in these type of races because they think she is that good. And you kind of go back to her whole story. It's just she's a pretty incredible horse, and I'm back in the boat, man. I'm back on the bandwagon, and my heart's probably gonna get broken here in Kentucky, but I'm back on the Hidden Connection bandwagon.
Well, and I've met the co-owners and breeders, Hidden Brook Farm, and a small operation like you're alluding to. Very wonderful people. So it'd be a really great story if they were able to get the job done. I'm not knocking it. I'm just not putting my money with it. I am, however, for number 2, going with a horse that didn't win last out. She didn't even get second last out, Mike Somich. It ain't easy to pick a winner in the Kentucky Oaks that hasn't done that yet, but I'm going with Ain't Easy for trainer Phil D'Amato. And let me tell you why. The best 3-year-old fillies in the country are not eligible for the Kentucky Oaks. They're still technically with Bob Baffert right now. They haven't been moved. 2 of those horses beat Ain't Easy last out in the San Isabel Stakes, but they only beat her late when she just kind of ran out of gas because, Mike, we hadn't seen her in 5 months. And oh, by the way, she'd had leg surgery since then. As somebody who's had multiple leg surgeries, I'm telling you, you don't come back from 5 months and just run the race of your life like that, especially when there's not one but two Bob Baffert horses that are going against you on the dirt. So Ain't Easy, second off the layoff, will be the Santa Anita Oaks. She was only 80% cranked going into the last race, San Isabel. Trainer Phil D'Amato said so. John Velasquez knew that and still rode her to a third-place finish. She showed a lot of heart and just really looked like she needed to get that race, get the rust knocked off. She was undefeated going into that. She had won the Chandelier, the Grade 2 race, last year in the fall at Santa Anita, so she can handle two turns, handle Santa Anita. I think third start off the layoff being the Kentucky Oaks. I love this spot for her. Go Ain't Easy.
Yeah, I think Secret Oath would have something to say about Baffert having the best 3-year-old fillies in the country. But
sorry, I'm so sorry. We're counting her. I'm with you. We're counting her as in the Derby. Yes, that's what I meant.
And I like, look, Ain't Easy was one that I have like in that 6th, 7th type spot. I need to see her come back and do a little bit more. I don't necessarily believe that California is that far ahead of everybody on the Philly side. Now, if you're correct in your argument that the best two fillies with Secret Oath off the board are both in the Baffert barn, yeah, I think this pick makes a ton of sense. I don't necessarily believe that to be true.
I'm taking a big risk here because you said it well, Mike. Our Derby top 5 is pretty locked in. Our Oaks top 5, and this happens every year. Ask me on Thursday who I like in Friday's race. I think we have the same number 1 here, and it's a horse that you've been on before me, so I'll let you talk about Kathleen O.
Throw her up, baby. Look, I realized how good this horse was before the Devona Dale. I was lucky enough to do the preview for that race for Racing Dudes YouTube video, and that's when I started to like really dive into her. Very impressive horse. She's tactical. She's got talent. She's going to get better with distance. She looked awesome in the Devona Dale. Like, go back and watch that race. She tons of trouble and just owns them. Like I'm talking like serious, like boxed in with 4 horses around her trouble, and then just pops out. And as soon as she got loose, just spurts on by. Like I thought it was a really phenomenal performance. She has tactical speed if she needs it, so she can be close if they go slow. She can close if they go fast. I'm in love with you. I 2 thumbs up for Kathleen O, baby. Let's go.
Throw up the O. Let's do it. Throw up the O for Kathleen O. We're just going to do this the whole time. Yeah, we love Kathleen O. Love the connections. Love Sugar McGahee. There's nothing not to love about this.
The hobby problem is real.
Well, listen.
Maybe switch the jock.
Here's the difference between Sugar McGahee and, say, Kenny McPeak or Dale Romans is when a jockey gives you a bad ride multiple times in prep races, you move on from them and find someone who will get the job done. So regardless of that, some people could say, I'm not going to, but some people would say that she won despite Hall of Fame jockey Javier Castellano being in the saddle. Again, I'm not saying that, but some people will. Regardless, see what I mean? She still won. Nick Feldman bringing in the heat, as he always does. And we're bringing the heat over at racingdudes.com. We have you covered with free picks for every race, every track around the country. YouTube.com/racingdudes, full coverage of the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby trails. If you want to catch Mike, Somich, and I's updated top 5s for the Kentucky Derby, it's over there as well. Hit like if you like the video, subscribe if you like it. Tell us below in the comments who is in your top 5 for the Kentucky Oaks right now. Assuming Secret Oath goes to the Kentucky Derby, of course. We'll see you at the track. Okay, we're still live. I feel like I have to usually I hold for a few seconds. I'm like, no, guys, we're still live. Please don't leave.
All right, let's do a little Oscar style here. I'm excited for this.
This is a good one. All right, so I didn't have time to make a video cue for you. So let's just do this.
No antics of any kind except speed, and there we go with the antics.
Just love it. I love it so much. All right. In honor of the Oscars being last night, and in honor of Will Smith with the second best backhand or open palm slap on a man that we've seen in the last month, which is weird. We've got our own little fun Derby Oscar awards that Mike came up with this idea. First category, the most likely. Keep in mind, this is all for the Kentucky Derby. Most likely overbet horse award. Mike, where do you want to go here?
All right, we got 5 nominees for the most likely horse to be wildly overbet in this year's Kentucky Derby. Number 1, Mo Donegal out of the Todd Pletcher stable, who's already gaining steam, even though he's done absolutely nothing but disappointing prep so far. Next race up is the Wood. If he does anything, like maybe break poorly and then rush up, you're going to see like a 20-1 morning line bet down to like 7 or 8-1, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and this is the classic. He reminds me of Known Agenda, where Known Agenda in the Florida Derby, I should say he's shown a lot more talent and smarts than Known Agenda did. But this feels like that kind of classic, especially because we're all just grasping for Todd Pletcher to have somebody, right? Like we're excited about Charge It in the Florida Derby going main special weight to that fucking group. Or Emmanuel in the Bluegrass. Like, come on. No, this is not great. All right.
Number 2, the second nominee. Smile Happy, your Derby favorites in the first 3 pools. That has come back and run one race so far, and it was okay and had a little trouble. So you got the excuses going, and you might see this horse somewhere in like the single digits, high like 9 to 10 to 1 somewhere. If we do run well in the next prep, so Smile Happy, our second candidate here for the most likely horse to be wildly overbet in the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah. He's been wildly over. Every McPeak horse has just continued to disappoint and have excuses and fine. Fucking bring it on. Keep disappointing. Keep making the excuses for it. I'm with you. Where are you going next?
The third nominee is Zozos, who runs a really nice second in the Louisiana Derby behind Epicenter. But that was the first time we saw this horse in a prep. I mean, but you're going to see some wise guys get all over Zozos here as one of those horses that's going to absolutely get hammered. So Zozos is our third nominee for the most overbet horse on Kentucky Derby Day.
I was trying to make it easier here to see. I was trying to put it up, and I just spoiled it. So who's number 4 there, Mike?
Number 4, the fourth nominee is Zandon, who Magic actually likes for some reason in the Kentucky Derby. Zandon is going to get overbet exactly because of what Magic thinks here. It's a Chad Brown horse. Guess what? Not great in the Derby. It's a Chad Brown horse that's going to come from off the pace. It's going to run in a weak wood. It's going to, again, get overbet because of, this is the wood factor, right? And I mean that in the horse racing sense. Mo Donegal, Zandon.
Magic Mike Show brought to you by Blue Chew. Head over to bluechew.com. Use code Magic Mike for 10% off. Just pay for it.
Yeah. Zandon and Mo Donegal, I don't think are very good. And they're going to run 1-2 in the wood, most likely, right? And if they do, or when they do, early voting might have something to say about that. They're going to get steam. I think they're both going to get wildly overbet. And number 5 is Secret Oath, who I think everyone's going to bet. And I don't really think has that good chance to win Derby. I'm sorry. I don't think she's got that great of a shot at winning the Derby here. So there's our nominees: Mo Donegal, Smile Happy, Zozos, Zandon, and Secret Oath. We got some people in the chat chiming in here. We got a couple Secret Oaths. We got a Zandon. We got a couple Zozos there as well. Magic, I don't think we've actually decided here who's going to be the winner. Do you have any thoughts on this one? You probably don't want to include.
I was literally thinking live. We just said it's earlier. Let's have the audience vote on it. I think this is a good way to do it. Vote in the chat. This would be a hard one because I say that and there's a 30-second delay here. But let's see. Chris says Secret Oath by $1 billion for most overbet. Secret Oath if she makes the Derby for Nick. Dennis says Zozos will be overbet. Listen, here's the thing. He brings up a point here. Cox has nothing. Brad Cox, like a month ago or 2 months ago, was like, I have maybe one Derby horse, and it's Cyberknife. And suddenly everybody's like, Zo, because he finished, a well-beaten second behind Epicenter and ahead of a bunch of shitty horses. Let's see. Phil says, glad I made it just in time for the wood comment. Yeah, good morning to Phil. Zozo, Secret Oath, Smile Happy wins this one. Man, you picked some good ones here, Mike.
This is why I think it's going to be a great betting year for the Derby.
Yeah.
I mean, these are 5 horses that I don't think hit the board that I think are going to all be, anywhere from that 8 to 15 to 1 range, which I think is wild.
So the term, let's break this down. The term overbet implies way beyond what the value should be.
Correct.
And because of that, I'm going to go with Zozos.
Okay.
Because Secret Oath, I think, is talented enough that she will be overbet, but I think it won't be to the point where you're like, she should not, unless she wins the Arkansas Derby by 10 lengths, and then we'll have to revisit this. But as of right now, I think this Zozos will be most wildly overbet, but a great list.
I can look. The problem with Secret Oath is she's the best horse on that list. That's the tough part of giving her the award, right? Zozos, I think, like Smile Happy, it takes much money. I think maybe the top of the list, and same with Mo Donegal, because I think that Mo Donegal. But let's give it to Zozos now, because I agree with you. I think Zozos is going to take a lot of steam off that effort, especially if Epicenter goes off as your favorite. I think Zozos is going to catch some of that, and you're going to see Zozos, sub 10 to 1, which is wild. That horse should be 25, 30 to 1 in that race. Chris
says Irish named horses in the Derby always get overbet. Is Zozos an Irish name? I feel dumb for not knowing that now. I know that Zoso that was a Led Zeppelin thing for a while, but not Zozos. Zozos is a Caneel Bay resort that was destroyed in 2017 because of a hurricane. No,
Yeah, interesting. I will say if Smile Happy goes off sub 10-1, Smile Happy almost automatically wins that award. Especially if Chris Lannery's on a board. Like that's just
or his brother Corey, one of the two.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
Whatever.
So here's the award for Zozos. It's you get my workout water bottle here. All right, next category, Mike. The horse, and I just pulled it back down here. The long shot most likely to hit the board. This is going to be a fun one. Assuming all of these horses make it to the Derby, which looking at your list, yeah, I think so. Ooh, this will be a fun one to debate here. All right. I'll throw the list up here, so it's going to be spoiled. But let's talk about number 1, Doppelganger.
Yeah, Doppelganger here now switching barns. It currently 40-1 in most Derby future pools would be a monster number if it makes the gate. Going to Arkansas, going to run in the Arkansas Derby. This one might get, if a Doppelganger wins, you might see this horse drop down in odds a little bit. But I still think you're staring 20-1 plus on Derby Day and has a legit shot at hitting the board coming from off the pace.
I feel like such an idiot. Mo Donegal. That's the goddamn and Donegal Racing. Yeah. Okay. If Doppelganger wins the Arkansas Derby, he's not a long shot though, right? So you're assuming he gets second to Secret Oath in the Arkansas Derby?
I don't know. He might still be a long shot. Do you think Doppelganger sub 20-1 after getting smoked by Forbidden Kingdom?
Well, there's a lot of things going on with that one. Forbidden Kingdom would need to get his ass beat in the San Diego Derby. So he would need to fail at a mile and eighth is my point. So I don't know. We'll hold on that one. I don't think that one's gonna get my vote. But listen, if you're in the chat live, this is your time to vote. So number 2, Unoho.
Unoho, one eye, but man, maybe good enough to hit the board here. I mean, he was able to fly late to get the job done in Arkansas last time we saw him. He's going to get the pace set up in the Derby often, and you'll notice the same. Like 4 of these 5 horses are coming from off the pace. Generally, your bomb that hits the second or third spot in the try is a horse coming from off the pace. So that's kind of where I looked for this. Unoho, going to be a monster price, going to be rolling late. Definitely has a shot at getting to the board.
I think so. His price will be interesting because he'll be definitely overbet, as Vicky's saying here, in the Arkansas Derby because he was 75-1 when he won the Rebel, and he just barely beat Gilded Age, who I think is still trying to finish at the UAE Derby. So we'll see what happens with Unoho. How about Ethereal Road here?
The other Lucas horse, Ethereal Road, makes this list, was able to run well last time. Again, has that style from coming off the pace, was able to get some steam. Another one that could kind of junk up and get into that 3rd or 4th spot to blow the super up.
Definitely. I think Ethereal Road, of the 3 you've mentioned here, to me, this is the one that I could see, at least when I think long shot hitting the board, I'm like, yeah, boy, it's a surprise. And then you think and go, yeah, it's not really a surprise. Okay. It's like Instilled Regard got 4th the year that Justify won the Kentucky Derby, and it was 87-1. And you're like, Instilled Regard. Well, okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. So it was, that's a great candidate, I think, Ethereal Road. How about Pioneer Medina? There's some votes for Pioneer Medina here in the chat.
A horse that's going to be more forwardly placed, should be able to make a little bit of its own trip, sit in that second flight in the Derby, will be a big number. It was 17-1 in the Louisiana Derby and ran well, but didn't exactly show you anything that makes you think you should be less than 17-1 in the Kentucky Derby. But it's a Pletcher horse who's been taking steps forward and could take another one the first Saturday in May, and will definitely be a big number.
This is that Pletcher horse. You and I joked about possibly claiming him in the fantasy league, and we were like, well, I mean, he'll probably get 3rd in Louisiana Derby and go to the Kentucky Derby and maybe hit the board. And what happened? He got 3rd in Louisiana Derby. Yeah, it feels like that horse. This actually, I talked about Instilled Regard. This feels a lot like that Instilled Regard horse that Instilled Regard didn't really make any waves winning prep races. He just was kind of there. But then at the finish line, he was there. So especially if Pioneer Medina gets a favorable draw, watch out for that horse. That's a good one there. Number 5 is a fun one. Crown Pride, winner of the UAE Derby. By the way, I want to pat myself on the back. That was my long shot pick in the race. If you caught the preview at racingdudes.com, I had Combustion, the other Japanese horse, winning the race, and he didn't. But Crown Pride was very strong. Davey Cleveland loves Crown Pride, and you've got a number 5 here, Mike.
Yeah, I got him sitting at number 5. My biggest concern here is he might get bet. Is 20-1 right now in the offshore market. So you're already seeing 20-1 offered here at a Crown Pride to win the Derby. And this Japanese steam that we've seen ever since the Breeders' Cup is just continuing to pile on these international days. It'll be interesting to see if a Japanese horse now takes money in the Derby. But this is a horse that was able to stalk the pace, was able to make a big move. And again, we're looking for horses that are coming from off the pace at big prices generally in those 3rd and 4th spots. Crown Pride absolutely checks the box. And we've seen Japan do very well in the dirt over here in the Breeders' Cup. Maybe that trend continues and Crown Pride is able to muddy up the try here.
Yeah, when we did the live reaction, Aaron and I were like, all right, well, Japanese horse, great for Japan. Really great for them, honestly. Love to see the breeding program. You brought up the fact that a Blood Horse ran an article, I think I saw after you said it, Mike, that they just further proves they made a huge mistake, the Americans letting Sunday Silence go. Second and third generation horses are just absolutely destroying American horses right now. All from Sunday Silence. It's like, hey, we've got Into Mischief and we've got Kitten's Joy. They're like, we got Tap It, Curlin. They're like, we got Sunday Silence. We got one, and that's all we need to beat your asses.
And Sunday Silence, by the way, if you're just getting into horse racing, if you haven't watched the races, the 1989 Triple Crown season, absolutely amazing. One of my favorite horses growing up. My dad was a huge Easy Goer fan. Though Sunday Silence and Easy Goer were incredible. A blast to go watch those races, specifically the Preakness, where they each re-rally on each other like 3 times. Is an incredible race to go watch. It's a nail biter all the way down to the end. I won't tell you who won. Very, very close. He almost had a Triple Crown winner that year. So those are our nominees here for long shot, most likely to hit the board. Now, I do want to say I did consider Rattle and Roll.
I think they're winning votes for a horse that's not even named.
I did consider Rattle and Roll. That one came up quite a bit there. And I also did consider Morello, which is the other Asherson. I don't think Morello's 20-1 plus. That's why Morello didn't make the list. I think he's going to end up somewhere in that 12-1 range. And I was looking for a 20-1 plus horse that I think has a shot at hitting the board. And these are the 5 most likely I thought that fell in that category.
If Morello doesn't at least get second in the Wood Memorial, don't send him to the Derby, because that'll be your proof. Like, yeah, okay, he's not a 2-turn horse. We still haven't seen him go 2 turns. Don't forget that. He's bred to handle it, but he hasn't done it. And the Wood's going to be his test. And he's got to, I mean, we make fun of Mo Donegal, but Mo Donegal fucking loves aqueducts. So, and to go 2 turns. So don't go into that race lightly. And then another aqueduct horse, Nick says, Mike Maker's Grantham. Yeah, you can see Mike Maker hit the board at 55-1, where you're like, especially this year when Baffert can't run, you're like, yeah, of course Mike Maker's got a horse that hits the board at 55-1. Listen, out of all of these, nobody's voted for him, but fuck it, it's Magic Mike Show, not the Fan Mike Show. I'm gonna go with Ethereal Road.
Oh, see, I think it's Doppelganger.
My Pioneer Medina. Pioneer Medina is my pick because I think that's the one that's the most like instilled regard. I did say that earlier. This feels like the horse that's gonna fucking get fourth in your super at 50-60-1, and you're gonna go, I should have had that.
I would give it to Doppelganger if it was my choice, because I think Doppelganger is the one that slops it up here and ends up finishing 3rd or 4th and gets overlooked in the betting window.
The Bob Yaktine or Tim Baffert or whatever.
Yeah, the Tim Baffert horse. But yeah, this is a tough one. And I'm excited to see, like, on the actual Derby, what type of price we get on these horses. I legit think you could make a case for all of these horses hitting the board.
I mean, we're
not in the same race, but they all could finish 3rd or 4th.
We're even coming off of a Kentucky Derby last year that Baffert won with Medina Spirit. You and I both, that was our top pick, and he was not the favorite or second favorite. Mike, like, you could make money last year betting a goddamn Bob Baffert horse to win, and the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Champion finishing underneath him. Like, that's okay.
Well, the funny thing is, if we did this last year, you know who the pick would have been there? The horse that ran second.
That's true.
I mean, we were both all over him in the preview, so that would have probably been the long shot to hit the board last year.
All right, I got to get the
banner for the last one. This one I'm excited about because I think we're gonna have some love in the chat here. So
there we go.
The last one is going to be the favorite most likely to miss the board. So the favorite most likely to not run in the top 4. And I went to what I believe are going to be the top 5 betting choices in this race. So if I handicapped who I thought the top 5 would be on the first Saturday in May right now, this would be my list. Number 1, Epicenter. We just saw him roll in the Louisiana Derby. It's hard to say that he's going to miss the board. Number 2, Forbidden Kingdom. Done absolutely nothing wrong going into the Santa Anita Derby, and currently your favorite in the overseas markets. Number 3, Messier, who we're about to see first time out of the Tim Yaktine barn to try and earn points in the Santa Anita Derby. Our 4th nominee, White Barrio, who absolutely rolled down in Florida the last time that we saw him. Then Simplification, who ran second to White Barrio and absolutely rolled after that. Didn't put Classic Causeway on here because I think Classic Causeway would be the most likely to miss the board if I added him. I think these 5 is pretty tough.
This is you also said you were doing top 5 betting. I don't know, Classic Causeway. Well, we'll see what happens in Florida. If he wins the Florida Derby, he's definitely top 5. But this is a great list. I love that you just, for objective purposes, you just went here the top 5 betting choices, not who you think. Because it's hard to figure it out. But going off of this, yes. So this is gonna be a fun one in the chat. There's a ton of you watching, and let us know down here. Oh boy, favorite most likely to not hit the board.
All right, so I think we can knock out Epicenter immediately. I think we both think that he's likely to hit the board.
Charles Blah, I love to see you, but Charles immediately Epicenter not hitting the board.
Yeah, I think he definitely hits it. Okay, so then White Abario and Simplification. How much do we believe? That's really the question with those two, because if you believe Florida is that good, they're both tough to say that they're the most likely. I think it's one of the California horses. I think you have to pick Forbidden Kingdom or Messier for this. My gut says it's Forbidden Kingdom because I still don't believe in the mile and a quarter.
Yep.
And he is one paced.
Yep.
And I could 100% see him fading in that final turn.
Yep. Absolutely. That would be my second pick on this list. And I would knock anybody for picking him. The questions about
you're gonna bang Simplification again, aren't you?
Goddamn right, I'm gonna bang Simplification all day, all night, and twice on Sundays if he's lucky enough. No,
I was gonna say, you want to do the Blue Pill promo again?
That's Bluetooth.com. Code Magic Mike. Free first month. Just pay $5 shipping. You tell I listen to enough podcasts. You're laughing too much of that. Listen, Forbidden Kingdom is we said it when we did the Derby top 5, right? This is a boom or bust horse, and he's one pace. The problem is when you go a mile and a quarter, a lot of times a speed horse is going to still hit the board or finish top 4, top 5 because he's too far ahead, and everybody else, they can't go a mile and a quarter either. So that's why I'm not going to say Forbidden Kingdom. Simplification, it's the lead change. It's the bad breaks. And those two things, when you're going a mile and a quarter against 19 other horses, and they're all, at least a lot of them are better than what you've been facing in Florida and beating up on. He's a talented horse, and I love Antonio Sano. I love his story. I love Gunnevera. I'd love to see him do well with Simplification, but I have too many question marks on the biggest race when you need everything to go exactly your way.
I mean, you're wrong, but you can have an opinion. It's clearly Forbidden Kingdom. He is clearly the most likely to not hit the board. It's just based on the wording of the question. The most likely to not hit the board is the horse that we have no clue if he's going to be able to do anything when someone actually stares him in the eye around the first turn.
That's true. Well, they both have to pass the test of going beyond a mile on the 16th. It's just with one of them, we have the question about, which is ironic because the one that's the son of the Triple Crown winner is the one we're like, I don't know if he can do it. The one that's the son of Not This Time, who never went longer than a mile on the 16th, we're going, yeah, no, he's fine. He's fine.
Okay. Don't worry about it.
Absolutely fine. Yeah. Listen, by the way, I wish Not This Time had stayed around as a 3-year-old because him versus Classic Empire is 3-year-olds too. Oh, banging heads.
It would be fun.
It'd be a lot of fun. Listen, all right, let's look at the votes are going to be for Forbidden Kingdom. Davey says Simplification is proven he can run in traffic. Very true and very important because that's how you muck up for 4th or 3rd in the Derby. A lot of times is you got to weave through them stumble bunnies, man, and he can do it. Charles, this is great. He's first on our list. You're right. Listen, Charles, I will tell you right now, if Crown Pride wins the Kentucky Derby, you're getting full credit on the show because you're the first one I've seen claim he's going to win it here. So it's probably not going to happen. I wouldn't hold your breath out for it, but listen, I appreciate, I respect taking your shot here.
So okay, like just, Forbidden Kingdom's the winner of this category.
Yes. Forbidden Kingdom, here's your award.
Let's just throw a random question for you. What happens first? The Japan horse wins the Derby or the Breeders' Cup Classic?
Classic.
Okay.
Because a couple of reasons. One, Americans still have the formula for how to prime a horse for the Kentucky Derby. You haven't seen the Japanese go start 1, start 2, Kentucky Derby peak. Like they haven't done that yet. The Breeders' Cup Classic is open to 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. The Japanese love to run their horses at 4, 5, and 6. They're very strong believers in breeding and pedigree and soundness and doing what's best by the horse. I think the Classic is very well within range. We saw what they did at the distaff against, what we thought were some unbelievable mares, and Marsh Lorraine just came in there and went Juwan Howard all over him. So yeah, no, definitely Classic. What about you?
I would agree. And I actually agree with your reasoning as well. I think the fact that we retire horses a lot earlier will be a big factor in that. You're going to see some horses that, and obviously the chat agrees here, the Classic as well. We're going to see some horses that are 4, 5, 6 years old that wouldn't be running in the U.S. that are running in Japan that will be serious contenders for the Breeders' Cup Classic.
This is great. Oh, Messier's jockey is Velasquez, right? Isn't Velasquez still Messier's jockey? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
By the way, bringing back to Doppelganger, did you see that Velasquez is riding because Pratt jumped off?
No, I didn't see that.
Well, Pratt is committed to We the People for Rudy Brissett, the undefeated horse. I don't know if he had committed to that because Baffert with the Doppelganger situation. Pratt might have already committed to that very easily. So,
Pratt rarely rides for Yakteen either. So, it's just a barn that he doesn't ride for often.
Yeah, that's great. This is I'm sorry. I thought that Dennis literally was because of the delay. I was like, Dennis just asked the question that he must have been catching up right when you asked it. How about this? Who wins the Classic first, Europe or Japan?
Well, Europe has, so I'll go Europe because they've already done it. But who wins the next one?
Who did they win? Giants Causeway? Did Giants Causeway win the Classic or no?
Oh man, now you're gonna make me search Classic winners.
I'll pull it up. It's all right. What were you gonna say? I didn't mean to.
Yeah, I would. The next winner, I think, is going to be Japan. I think you'll see the next one to win a breeder starting in 2022. I think Japan wins one before Europe.
Let me look through here.
I thought they won one.
Giants Causeway came damn close, but didn't. Yeah, he's the closest. By the way, this is just Sunday Silence won the goddamn Breeders' Cup Classic in 1989, and we let him go.
He was a great racehorse.
If you wanna consider AP Indy, he wasn't trained in Japan, but he was owned by a Japanese businessman. I don't know if you want to count him, but otherwise it's been.
I guess I sort of counted Invasor in my head. Ravens Pass. Ravens Pass won it.
Ravens Pass.
I knew that there was one of them.
Ravens Pass because that was on synthetic at Santa Anita for Detroit Gods, and Black Tie Affair did it. He was Irish bred. Invasor, he was Argentinian bred. Okay. Yeah. Europe has done it. So, okay, we'll forget that. We'll say from here moving forward, because at that point, Japan did not have any breeding operation whatsoever. So I guess, that's where Dennis is going here.
I also consider Blam a European horse for no good reason.
That's
not totally not a European horse, but for I just Blam in my head will always be a European horse. No idea why.
I clearly we're not good with the history here, but Chris, tell me if this is. I think this was when Giants Causeway almost won. He almost beat Tisnell one of the years that Tisnell won.
That was at Belmont in 2001.
Or was he facing? This is great. This is great. This is absolutely great radio. Listen, while Mike looks that up, we'll go ahead and wrap things up here because we are at the end of the show. Thank you to everybody for helping us vote on these Oscar awards. By the way, this is a great idea that Mike had. Literally, like 7:30 this morning, my time, just 2.5 hours ago. So to put together and come together that well, really appreciate you playing along. There's been a lot of you watching. So before you leave, if you're watching on Facebook, give us a like. If you're the little like, the little heart. If you're watching on YouTube, the thumbs up, subscribe. It does a lot for us. If you hit the notification bell, you'll get alerted every time that any of us go live on the Racing Dudes YouTube channel. We got a ton of content coming up. Arkansas Derby is this weekend. So is the Florida Derby, and we have a special deal for you if you're going to be looking to buy the inside track to the Florida Derby wagering guide. We're doing something awesome where we're also going to give you the fantasy stakes and the Arkansas Derby included. So you're going to get all 10 stakes from Gulfstream on Saturday, plus 2 from Oaklawn Park, plus the top 4 consensus from everybody at RacingNews.com. So this guy right here, with Aaron, with Jared, with myself, Papa Dude, Dr. Miranda, we're all putting in our top 4. So great time to go check that out.
If you're a weekend?
That's this weekend. That's this Saturday. Yeah. Arkansas Derby is already drawn. If you want the preview for that race, it'll be available at racingdudes.com and youtube.com/racingdudes quite shortly. Just need to get done talking here and go edit that. But Mike, did you figure out who did Tisnell beat? Was it John
Saki was the horse that he beat. Also, Galileo was in that race as well.
That's probably who he was thinking. It was Galileo.
Yeah, but Saki was actually the horse that ran second. And don't forget, if you're a subscriber to racingdudes.com, we are starting our tournaments this Friday as well. So you can join the exclusive subscriber tournament, $10 to enter. Got cash prizes there as well as $150 to the winner in site credit that's added by the dudes. So we're going to have a nice bump there. And we'll have a Friday show as well from 5 to 6 covering that tournament for subscribers and talking about the races that day and talking about tournament strategy. So make sure if you are a subscriber to get into that tournament as well and get your shot at a free $150.
Boom, put that right up there on the screen. Yeah, we're very excited. Oh, I don't have the screen share. Where is it? I thought I was sharing that screen. Was I not? View tab. Come on. Oh, well, we'll figure it out. Anyways, go to racenews.com. It's on literally every other post. So you can find that there. The inside tracks to any derby, whatever inside track wagering guide we are doing is included with every monthly subscription. So if you want to get in on the guides for the Derby season, we're doing them for every prep. And then, of course, the Triple Crown season. So if you get a monthly subscription, you're going to get every guide included for free. You're getting access to that tournament that Mike Somich is talking about absolutely for free. It's absolutely the best time to be a Racing Dudes premium subscriber. So head over to racingdudes.com. We really love to see it. It's a lot of fun over there. We're really building a fun community. We really appreciate you following us on Twitter. I am at Curtis Kalleward. He is at Somobomb 18, number 1, number 8. The beautiful horse in the background, if you're watching, that is Epicenter, the 2022 Kentucky Derby winner. We'll be back on Thursday, Mike. We've got to cover Florida, the Gulfstream Park Late Pick 4, right? There's no way.
Yeah, I mean, the Florida Derby is a wonderful betting race. That's one of the I'm super excited to actually have a really interesting stakes race in there, and having Kathleen O in the sequence and then going into that Florida Derby is it's an awesome sequence. It's gonna be fun.
John Muller says he's still in on simplification for the Florida Derby. Find out on Thursday if Mike and I are all in on him possibly winning that one. We will be back on Thursday at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. Until then, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Thanks again for following us. Go to racingnews.com. Enter the tournament. We're so excited for that on Friday. We'll see you Thursday. Good luck this week, everybody.
This has been a presentation of RacingDudes.com, your destination for all things horse racing and sports betting. Whether you want free winners, expert insider picks, up-to-the-minute trackside weather reports, or podcasts and videos for bettors of all skill levels. Never make another wager without visiting the Racing Dudes. First,